Hey guys, and welcome back to Sport Compact Fun. I'm Eric, and today we're going to be working on this D16A6. This is a JDM spec motor. The guy that had this car before me put this motor in here and he had it imported. And today I'm just going to be doing a little bit of maintenance on it. I don't know that what I'm going to do is actually needed, but since it wasn't my car until recently, I'd rather just go ahead and do it. So what are we working on? We're working on the PCV valve, or the positive crankcase ventilation valve. And that valve is located just behind the valve cover right here. And it is something that's pretty simple to replace. So I'm going to do that, and hopefully it'll make a difference in how it runs. But if the valve is already good, then it won't. But I'm willing to take the chance for $3.99 to replace the valve, because then I know it's new and I know that it's going to be a little bit better for the future as well, because I have no idea when this other valve is in here. Another thing I'd like to mention real quick before we get into this is that a lot of times the aftermarket PCV valves don't seem to last as long as the OEM ones. So just kind of keep that in mind. I mean, once again, they're only $2 to $3. They're not that expensive, or $2 to $4. I think mine was $3.99 or something. And along with the valve, I actually bought a new piece of hose as well for the vacuum line. And hopefully, by replacing the vacuum line and the valve, I'll have one less problem to worry about in the future. So let's get into it.
So as you can see here, the blue little valve is the PCV valve that we're going to be replacing, and with that, all you really need to do is just use a flathead screwdriver, one that's long enough to reach between the intake manifold and the valve cover gasket under the fuel rail, and you're just going to pop it open like that. It's not a lot of effort that's needed, and then you'll just have to kind of snake it back around the backside of the fuel rail there, and then you'll be able to pull that up and you'll be able to get a better view of it once it's up and out. Once you have it up and out, this is what it'll look like. It's just a little valve that has a little piece inside that rattles a little bit, and I'll show you how to test this here in a moment. So once the valve is on top of the fuel rail, you can shake it like I'm doing there, and you'll hear this rattling inside, and if it's rattling, that means that the valve is actually opening and closing as it should, and that's a good sign. If it doesn't rattle, the valve is stuck, either opened or closed, and it's not working like it should. You need to adjust it. Also, it's important to make sure that the hose barbs or hose clamps are actually covering the barb of the valve and the hose itself, or the vacuum line, so that there's no leaks being created around the barb of the valve and between the hose itself. So here I have some pliers. I'm just working that back over. Evidently whoever put this one in the past didn't do that work like they should have, and now I'm just fixing it up so that it's not leaking at all, and that's best. Now when you install your PCV valve, make sure that you install it the right way. I actually pulled this and spun it a little bit, so now you'll see me have to spin the hose clamp around, and I also have to spin the barb around and the valve around so that I can reinstall it where it goes. So here I'm getting ready to actually test the PCV valve in a different way. I'm getting in the car, and here in a moment you'll see the throttle cable move up where I put tension on it, and then I crank the car. And this helps you to see if it's working, not only with the rattling, but if you hear a kind of whisper or a whistle come through the valve because of the vacuum, that shows that it's also working. And then what you're going to want to do then is you're going to want to come back around to the car while it's still running at idle, and then you're going to want to check it a different way. What you're going to do now is you're going to actually use your finger or your thumb to check the vacuum on that valve. You're going to put your thumb over it, take it off, put your thumb over it, take it off with your finger, and make sure that it actually has suction to it. If it has suction to it, then it's working like it should and the valve isn't blocked up. If it doesn't, then even if it rattled and there's something's not right and that valve isn't working like it should, more than likely, and it needs to be replaced. So once you've done that, you just need to go back around and turn the car off, and then you can reinstall the valve where you took it from earlier. Don't forget to reroute it around the back of the in the fuel injector rail and then back under, and it doesn't really have any kind of fitting that clips in or anything. It just pushes in and it's held in by friction. So just put it back in place, make sure you have everything turned the right way, and then just push down as hard as you can on it, and you will have it put back in place and it should be ready to go.
Well, as you may have seen, the valve doesn't seem to be bad, so I ended up not replacing it. Two indications told me that, well, three indications really told me that it probably wasn't bad. One, it looks exactly like the valve that I had bought from AutoZone, so that means that it's probably an aftermarket, fairly new. Two, it had a hissing noise when the car was on, so that means that air was going through it like it should. And then three, when I put my finger over it, there was good vacuum in the line. So that probably means that, once again, the valve is working. Oh, and I guess there's actually four reasons. The fourth is that when you shake it, the valve rattles, as you heard in the video, I hope. So that's basically four ways to test the PCV valve. One, once again, is if there's a hissing noise coming through it because it's got a vacuum. Two, the fact that when you put your finger over it while the car is running, you feel a vacuum, a fairly strong vacuum on it. Three, that it rattles. And then four, if it looks like it's fairly new and, you know, an aftermarket PCV valve, then it's probably in good shape. So that's it. I just saved myself $4 because now I can take that valve back and have them return it to my card. So that's $4 that I can spend on something else, like, you know, feeding myself since I'm out of a job, and go on from there. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Hope that this was helpful for you guys so that you have a little bit of idea about how to fix a PCV valve, or test one at least, on your Honda. So just give it a look at and see if you need to change it or not. And if you're in doubt, go ahead and change it. They're usually very cheap and you'll save yourself a lot of hassle. If the hose is cracked or split or anything anywhere, then definitely go ahead and change that hose as well. It's vacuum line, it's not that expensive. I think the foot long minimal that they'll sell you at AutoZone cost me like $2 or something. I mean, it wasn't much, $1.25 or something. It wasn't that much. But also note that you have an insulator on the hose to keep it from rubbing on the injectors and things. So make sure that you look carefully at that as well, so that you don't overlook some dry spot or a crack in it when there really is one, but it may be under that insulation that it has. So those are just a couple of things to keep in mind. And once again, I hope that this information was helpful for you guys. Please don't forget to give me a thumbs up on the video. Like it, of course, by giving the thumbs up, comment, subscribe. You can check out other Sport Compact Fun videos right here. You can subscribe right here. And then down there, you can check out what's going on with the Off-Road Independence videos. Thanks again. Hope to see you in the next episode.